Hey creatives, today I'm going to give you 5 quick tips for those of you who are participating in NaNoWriMo this year. Let's get straight into it, skip all of the preamble. If you have any quick tips that I've not mentioned on this list, then pop them in the comments below. Start organising yourself now. Start organising how you want to write. Now, creatives, you are aiming for 50,000 words, meaning you're going to need to write 1,667 words every single day for 30 days. Start organising how you want to write, and to make sure that you're hitting that, you cannot afford to edit every single day. Write your words, refine later. You are currently on a challenge where respite is not available. Aim for your 1,667 a day, round off your current sentence or paragraph, and then leave it there. Don't write 2,500 words. Just have to cut 1,000 of those away every single day. You're going to be wasting time and words. Check your schedule now. If you've got a birthday, an anniversary, a 12-hour shift coming up, whatever it is, you need to account for that and accommodate for that. Check your calendar, check your notes, check your dates. Make sure that you're going to be able to write every single day. And if you're not, then adjust the words for every other day to accommodate and reflect that. So for example, I have 3 days in November where writing will be almost impossible for me. So now I'm going to have to find another way of covering those 3 days, which is 5,001 words. I could do this by adding an extra 715 words to each day on my first week or my last week, or I could evenly space out the 5,001 words across the full other 27 days available. So I'll be writing 1,852 words a day, whatever works for you. Right, bit of a bonus tip, not a preparation based one, but important nevertheless. You're not going to hit writer's block. I'll go into it in another video in much more depth and much more detail. I don't subscribe to the idea of writer's block. You're not stagnating, you're not stuck, you're simply finding that something's wrong and something isn't working for you. And if something's wrong, something can be fixed. If you're finding that you're stuck with your character because it doesn't feel like they're acting how you imagine that character would act, then it's an issue with the author voice leaking out through that character, or the character not being true to themselves. Refer to your MBTI category for that character, or look at their history, or look at another person in your life who's similar to that character's personality and ask them what they do in the situation. Or maybe you hate the bit that you're writing at the moment, then go write another part. There's nothing stopping you from pausing chapter 4, starting the fun bit in chapter 6, and then the next day revisiting chapter 4 with a bit more context and a bit more influence with regards to what you know is coming up. Heck, throw a bit of foreshadowing in there for good measure. I mean, now you know what's coming up, you might as well. And if you're sick of your story this month, I'm going to suggest maybe you're lacking motivation or inspiration. If the latter is true, then I get it. You've been writing every single day. You're kind of sick of the story. It's not as clean or consistent as you want it to be. Get a timer, sit down, set 15 minutes on it, and I just want you to write for 15 minutes. Even if you only get 50 words done in that 15 minutes, it's going to break that barrier of you actually getting started. Grab some music, grab a cup of tea, get started. That's the main thing. Most of the time, once those 15 minutes are passed, you'll find that you're back in the zone and you can carry on. And if not, then at least you've done another 50 or 100 words or 500 words towards your target today. That's great going. Just take whatever remains on that day and, as we said before, distribute it across the other days. Get your structure sorted now. It doesn't have to be watertight. It doesn't have to be something with 0 plot holes. It doesn't have to have an A, B, C, D, etc. storyline. It just needs to give you some sort of form of strategy for your approach. You can choose to save the cat method, the 3-act structure, the plot embryo, hero's journey, Freitag's pyramid, or whichever one you like. Just start applying those key beats to your idea. Jot a sentence or a paragraph to explain what's happening in each key moment, or you can even go as far as jotting down a summary of each scene or chapter. Remember, those are separate things, they're not interchangeable words. I'll cover that in a future video, but for now I just want you to consider what key moments happen and when. I'm also, like many others, not aiming for my whip to be 50,000 words in total. I'm aiming to do 50,000 words in NaNoWriMo towards a 90,000 target. That's what my genre dictates, that's what my target audience is conventionally used to. This means that my inciting incident, or point of no return, I prefer to say point of no return, but my inciting incident will fall later in my story than if it was contained entirely within the 50,000 words. So as a rule, you want your inciting incident to land around the 12% mark of your manuscript, which is around halfway through your beginning section. Your beginning section, it'll typically fill around 25% of your manuscript, so 25% half, you get 12.5. I'm just rounding it to 12. If you are self-containing your story to the 50,000 word count, but if you are self-containing your story to the 50,000 word limit of NaNoWriMo, then it means that you're going to want your point of no return to be around 6,000 words in, or day 4 of your writing. If it's already happened, you've likely got a pacing issue. If it's still something that's way off in the distance, you've got a pacing and probably an over-describing issue. Try and think about where you want your story to be at each key point and set out what you'll need to include to get there. Put effort into your antagonist. Now your story will have key figures in it, and it's important to flesh these out. Give them names, give them birthdays, faces, personalities, likes, dislikes, MBTI types, histories, childhood paragraphs, whatever you need to flesh them out. They are people. And do this for more than just your protagonist. Do it for your reflective character, your romantic interest, your mentor character, your antagonist, and your contagonists. Remember, for the most part, outside of Disney movies and presenters at the BBC, it's extremely rare for someone to be evil just because they're evil. Typically, your antagonist will believe that they are doing things for the right reasons, or they'll believe that the ends justify the means. So for example, in Incredibles 1, when Syndrome says, "With everyone super, no one will be," he's decided that there can be no supervillains and no superheroes above the law if everyone is on a level playing field. If everyone is extraordinary, no one can be extraordinary. And in his head, the means justify the end. Again, following on from that, Incredibles 2, Screenslaver has a personal history with knowing that she can't rely on others, but she recognises that everyone has become quite complacent over the years with relying on supers. So the thought process is that if supers are useless, then the people will have to take back control of their own fates. In an effort to empower others, she breaks down the powers of the supers. A villain move, yep, but with a hero motive. She thinks she's the hero. She thinks she's giving the power back to the people. Self-reliance. Every enjoyable villain is a hero led astray. Let's give a little bit of love to our characters when we're planning, and not just our protagonist. Give yourself consistency. Create an area, a time, a playlist, a mindset, or a reward system that's going to work for you, that you can work to. Creating this setting also builds foundations for a routine. And in 21 days, creatives, routines typically become habits, which will be fantastic for your long-term success. See what you can do before November arrives. Create some playlists to work to. In a pinch, you can always follow my Spotify. Clean up your desk or clean up your dining room table or something. I really don't recommend writing in bed because it promotes poor sleep hygiene. See, we want our bed to remain a place that is strictly for sleep and other stuff, but we definitely don't want our minds to associate bed as being a place to work, because then we're messing with our sleep patterns, we're messing with our rest and digest systems, our circadian rhythm, etc. It's all just going to cause a knock-on effect. And that's my broad tips that you can use for Preptober that's going to get you in the writing mood and help you whether you're a plotter or a pantser. As I said in my previous video, that I've left these intentionally broad as a foundational item. If you have anything specific that you like to do in Preptober that you want to share in the comments, then pop it below and hopefully it'll help some others with Preptober. So on the 1st of November, I'll be releasing a video which is going to be quickly going over the badges and their meanings in NaNoWriMo's website. And then I'll be doing a 90-minute work with me session where I'll be recording the first 90 minutes of my NaNoWriMo session. I'll pop some soft lo-fi music behind it so you can body double for my neurodivergent friends out there, or you can just revisit it whenever you need someone to work alongside throughout NaNoWriMo. I'm going to be posting every day of November in NaNoWriMo with advice, tips, hints, ideas, anything to help your progress. So if you want to benefit from those, then feel free to subscribe to the channel, and I will see you next time, creatives.